The train station buzzed with the usual hum of people rushing about, the rhythmic clatter of arrivals and departures blending into the background. Among the crowd, a quiet, unassuming man sat on a bench, his cane resting beside him. He was a disabled veteran, his calm demeanor hiding years of service and sacrifice. Nearby, a group of bikers rolled in, their loud banter and sharp laughter turning heads. At first, they seemed harmless, but their attention soon fixated on the veteran. It started with a few jeers, their mocking tone cutting through the station's noise. The man remained composed, his gaze steady but calm. The bikers mistook his silence for weakness, their taunts escalating as they closed in. Little did they know, this man was far from ordinary. Beneath the surface lay a secret they couldn't begin to imagine, a secret that would soon turn the tables in a way no one saw coming. The veteran shifted slightly, his weathered face giving nothing away. Years of experience had taught him patience and control, even in situations like this. He listened carefully, noting every word and movement. The bikers, oblivious to the danger they were toying with, grew bolder. One of them leaned in, smirking as he reached for the veteran's cane, spinning it mockingly. What the bikers didn't know was that this cane wasn't just a walking aid. It was a carefully designed tool, one of many items in the veteran's arsenal. He had been trained for moments exactly like this, though it had been years since he'd needed to rely on those skills. As the tension grew, whispers of the veteran's past echoed in his mind. Missions that required precision, discretion, and nerves of steel. The bikers saw an ordinary man, but beneath the surface was someone with the expertise to dismantle threats without breaking a sweat. The leader of the group, a tall man with a leather vest and an air of arrogance, stepped closer. "What's the matter, old man? Cat got your tongue?" he taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. The other bikers laughed, their confidence growing as they surrounded the veteran. Passers-by glanced nervously at the unfolding scene but kept their distance, unwilling to intervene. The veteran, still calm, measured their movements. His mind raced, not with panic, but with calculation. He knew he could handle this, but he also knew that his actions here had to be deliberate. Exposure was not an option. Years of working undercover had honed his instincts to perfection. Meanwhile, a station attendant watched from behind the counter, uneasy but unsure what to do. The bikers had a reputation in the area, and most people avoided crossing them. Little did they realize that this time they were facing someone far more dangerous than they could imagine. The leader grew impatient, stepping even closer. "Say something," he barked, his voice echoing through the station. The veteran raised his eyes slowly, locking onto the man's. For a brief moment, something flickered in the biker's expression, uncertainty, maybe even fear. But it was gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by bravado. The tension hung thick in the air, the entire station seemingly holding its breath. The veteran knew it was only a matter of time before the situation escalated. He had seen this before, different places, different faces, but the same arrogance that often led to regrettable mistakes. This was just another mission, another challenge, and he was ready. The leader took another step forward, now standing just inches away from the veteran. The tension was electric, a palpable charge in the air. The bikers were grinning, feeding off each other's energy, oblivious to the quiet storm brewing before them. The veteran's grip tightened slightly on the edge of the bench, his mind replaying strategies, options, and outcomes. He had to keep control, not just of the situation but of himself. "Not so tough now, are you?" The leader sneered, reaching out to shove the veteran's shoulder. The shove wasn't hard, but it was enough to cross an unspoken line. "You've got one chance to walk away. Take it." The leader froze for a moment, the weight of those words unsettling him. The bikers exchanged glances, their smirks faltering slightly. But the leader wasn't one to back down in front of his crew. He scoffed and reached again, this time for the veteran's cane. In a single fluid motion, the veteran sidestepped, his cane spinning just out of reach. The bikers blinked, startled by the sudden movement. It was subtle, almost effortless, but it sent a message. The leader's face darkened, his temper flaring. "All right, tough guy," he growled, clenching his fists. The bikers began to fan out, preparing to back him up. The station seemed to hold its breath as the veteran stood his ground. His years of training and experience told him the storm was about to break, and he was ready to meet it head-on. Just as the leader squared his shoulders, ready to make a move, the sharp sound of a train whistle pierced the tense atmosphere. The station's bustle briefly resumed, but the focus remained locked on the unfolding standoff. The bikers tightened their circle, convinced their numbers gave them the upper hand. But then something unexpected happened. A man in a dark suit stepped off the arriving train, his polished shoes clicking against the platform. He paused, scanning the scene. His eyes landed on the veteran, and his expression shifted, recognition followed by urgency. Without hesitation, the man walked toward them, his voice calm but commanding. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone cutting through the biker's bravado. The leader sneered, dismissing the newcomer with a wave. "Mind your business, pal. This doesn't concern you." The man ignored him, his focus entirely on the veteran. "Sir, do you need assistance?" The veteran gave a faint shake of his head, but the interaction was enough to unnerve the bikers. The man's demeanor wasn't that of a random passerby. It was too poised, too deliberate. And when he slid his jacket back, revealing a badge clipped to his belt, the biker's confidence wavered. The leader hesitated, glancing between the two men. "What's this? You cops?" he asked, his voice less sure now. The man smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Let's just say you've picked the wrong person to mess with today." The bikers exchanged uneasy glances. The veteran remained still, his expression unreadable. Inside, however, he was calculating. The presence of the agent, an unexpected ally, added a new layer to the situation. It wasn't just about diffusing the threat now, it was about ensuring his own secrets stayed buried. The leader's bravado cracked, but he wasn't ready to back down. "We're not scared of some badge," he muttered, though the tension in his voice betrayed him. The stakes had just been raised, and everyone could feel it. The air in the station was heavy with tension as the leader of the bikers stepped forward, his fists clenched. "We don't need trouble," he said, his voice lowering, though his pride was clearly fighting to stay in control. His crew shifted uneasily behind him, no longer as sure of their position. The veteran remained calm, his cane still at his side. The man with the badge moved slightly closer, his presence alone radiating authority. But before anyone could speak again, the veteran raised a hand, stopping them both. "Enough," he said firmly, his voice cutting through the chaos. He turned to the leader, his eyes sharp. "You've got one last chance to leave. Walk away while you can."